Isn't this conference awesome? I think we owe our organizers a great big hand. I did that because I wanted to share the feelings I had at the end of last year's conference and the feelings I have now. How awesome this conference is, why I decided to start my own Write the Docs Meetup group, what motivated me, and some of the experiences I had when I did. I'm Mike Jang, Senior Tech Writer for ForgeRock, commercial over. We have 6 documentarians in 6 different locations trying to tell people what this is all about. And that means we effectively each work alone. In my office, I often feel like a lone wolf going after developers, trying to chase them down, trying to figure out what they've done. I can't always do it. Fortunately, my boss understands that. He often refers to us as a bunch of reverse engineers, having to dig into the code, figure out how things actually work. I look around here, I've talked to a bunch of you, and I see reverse engineers everywhere. It's like Alan Turing decoding this Enigma machine. Enigma is the machine that the Germans used in World War II to code their messages. And Turing had to use creativity to do it. Gosh, my mind is drawing a blank. Who spoke of creativity earlier? After 18 months of this, I was a little tired of feeling alone. I came to the conference that Sunday evening. I dove in, started talking to people, and by that Monday morning, I felt like I was part of a community, people who understood what I was going through. I felt like I was part of a tribe. A tribe of people who know how to reverse engineer, how to dig into the engineering and be the code hero like Hemingway here. Yes, that was in a different context, but I don't care. I think a lot of us here are code heroes. I heard the mantra, Docs Hero didn't happen. I was sold. I had something to sell my developers, my engineers. Hey, if I don't understand it, I can't tell people about it, and all the good work you're doing is going to waste. But by that time, it was almost the end of the conference, about an hour before the end. I thought, oh no, what are we going to do? This was my original slide. But then Eric mentioned the idea of meetups, and I thought, wow, I could do it. We have a community. It was right here in Portland. I figured we had a few people here. This is my dog, Katie. Some of you met her on Saturday during the hike. She's taught me some life lessons about all of this. Sometimes you just got to take the ball and run with it. Before I started at ForgeRock, she found a fortune cookie and I opened it up and it said, you can't take a big step or a giant leap in 2 small steps. You just got to go for it. So the day after last year's conference, I wrote up my conference report to my bosses. I told them about it. The next day, I closed my eyes. I said, okay, I'm going to start this meetup group. We'll see what happens. I told my boss about it. He said, Mike, aren't you going to expense it? We'll sponsor it, but I have a condition for you. Find at least one other sponsor. I told Eric about it. He tweeted. Before I knew it, 30 people had signed up. People were starting to ask, Mike, when's your first meetup? I was panicked, but I was also hopeful. This might actually work. Lesson, do it while enthusiasm is fresh, like right now. Why Meetup? Well, it's a convenient infrastructure. If you find something else, great. when I put together the group, and I've adjusted this now and then, I've put together a variety of interests. These are the interests that correspond to the interests of Meetup members, and you'll note that I've gone beyond the typical topics of writing because I want the group to go beyond normal writers to encompass everybody who's interested in excellent documentation. When you start a Meetup group, you become a community leader. And one secret about community leaders in the open source world, many of them have budgets. If you need a sponsor, you can look around, you can actually get some help. But to get that help, you need to have a sales pitch. You've got to be able to tell them, hey, write the docs is the greatest thing since sliced bread. What does that mean? You can tell them, we can help you and your writers get the word out in a better way. They can learn how we solve our problems, and you can learn from them. Sometimes they even look for new writers. If they come to your membership and say, hey, we've got a job for you, so much the better. And being in the open source world, it's not just about the sponsors. They're okay with it when you say, hey, we help our members too. I'll say one example. I got her permission. Julie Bickford, high school teacher from Buffalo. She moved out here to Portland without a job. She did something revolutionary. She got a GitHub account. She started writing about how to use Git. She asked us, hey, can you help me make this documentation good? We helped. Within a couple of months, she got her first tech writing gig. Now for a little nitty-gritty. I've covered sponsorship, a bit of membership. Where do I find speakers? Eternal question. This took a little trial and error, but the first place I looked were the speaker lists from previous Write the Docs meetups, or, pardon me, Write the Docs conferences. And I saw Marcia was available, and she was very kind to speak at her first meetup. Thank you, Marcia Reefer Johnston, for helping get us kicked off. Thank you. We looked at a variety of topics, just going a little quickly. One of our best meetups was an introduction topic from people who knew something best. It was called Introduction to Data. I don't know if Leona Campbell and Melanie Jang are here, but I thank them for what they've done. But that's a writing topic. We also covered other topics. RESTful API documentation, that thing that's over our head. It's almost as difficult to figure out as an Enigma machine. Jennifer Rondeau, Jody Blyle, thank you very much for what you've done and how you've helped our group with that. Membership. I did something odd with this. I went beyond the normal sort of meetup tools. I took my pitch. I went to different sorts of conferences. I go to expo halls. I'd go up to a booth. They tried to sell me their product. I would tell them, hey, do you have any documentarians? Let me tell you about this meetup group. With all of this, some of you may not have this problem, but my office is in the burbs of Portland. Nobody would want to come out there for a meetup, so I had to keep looking, find another sponsor, somebody who would actually give us a facility. I find that in any sort of open source area, there are a variety of people who have facilities available who will help you. Or alternately, you can look for restaurants, college classrooms, and so on. But when you pick a facility, check everything out. Make sure the dongles fit. if it comes to the point where a speaker has trouble figuring out how to make things work, the first person he'll look at is you, and you better have the answer ready. Publicity. We have our usual suspects of social media. One thing that's worked well for us is a local tech calendar called Calligator. As I understand it, there are similar calendars available in other tech communities, and I don't know what the right metrics are, but typically when you see what happens at meetups, you have 20 RSVPs, maybe 10 people show up. For some of our meetups, we have 20 RSVPs, 40 people show up. Something worked. I don't quite know what, but I'm just sharing what I know. Finally, you get to your meetup day. First thing you do, arrive early. If you have a good meetup facility, it's popular. It might not be cleaned up. You might have to rearrange chairs. Make sure everything is ready for your speaker. When people come in, talk to everyone. People like to be greeted. People like to say, hey, I got some information, and that starts with a personal connection. Let people talk to each other beforehand. Don't just start the meetup at the top of the hour. Give them time to socialize, to interact. And when you're ready to start, make some useful announcements. Look at the job board downstairs. There are more jobs available than people who are looking for them. Shocking, I know, but we're in a good time. Let's take advantage of it. When you have a speaker, introduce them. They like to know. They like to hear good things about themselves. It puts them in a good mood to talk to your group. And if you need help, ask. It's an amazing thing. Don't be afraid. If you just need people to help clean up, great. If you need people to help you organize meetups, so much the better. I talked about this group last year at the Community Leadership Summit. Somebody tweeted a quote from me. A bit of an exaggeration, but there are some rules that I'm not afraid of breaking. If you look at the guidance online, a lot of meetup leaders say, you gotta charge for your meetups. I say no, this is an open source community. I list the topics we've gone through over the past year just for reference. Whoops. And 3 weeks from today, we can continue the conversation of Write the Docs here in Portland, where we're going to talk about when you should not write the docs. Yeah, that sounds a little strange, but there are times when there are so many workarounds that are required in the product that you've just got to put your foot down and say, hey, we got to do something with the product. And it's sometimes up to us to do that. So if you're in Portland, please join our group. We'll be meeting in the new Relic offices on the 29th floor. Great view. Right now, we just Dave, I forget his last name. He started a meetup group in Seattle. Write the Docs just about an hour ago. If you're in the Seattle area, please join his group. Dave, can you stand up so people can see you? Is Nick here? Nick Blanchet. Nick is the organizer of the San Francisco Meetup Group. If you, Sharon Campbell, can you stand up? She's the organizer of the group in the Big Apple. She's trying to get things started again. She'd appreciate a little bit of help. Do we have anybody from San Diego here? Okay, not everybody can make it. We supposedly have a group in Boston, but apparently there's no response. I I know there's a lady at the table I was sitting at who is interested in organizing a group. Can you stand up and yell your name? If you live in any of these areas, come see these people. I know there's also interest in starting groups in at least one or two other areas. San Antonio, I don't know whether Constance or Margaret wants to stand up. And back there, our fine writers from Rackspace, they're interested in starting a meetup group in the San Antonio area. Austin, thank you. And that's it. Here's my contact information. If you're interested in starting a meetup group, let me know.